Well, hello there. My name is Gigi, and I am on my own journey to wisdom and better critical thinking. I hope you can embark on this journey with me. So, subscribe if this is the type of content you are looking for. So, today in the Christian Apologetics series, I would like to follow up on my previous video about wisdom just because before I go into any type of other apologetics, I would like to make a recommendation. A couple of years ago, I did write an article called You Need to Read This One pertaining to the Book of Proverbs, which I will reiterate here. So I mentioned to you why I would like to gain more wisdom, what wisdom is. If you have missed that episode, you can go back and look through the list. You will be able to find it under the Christian Apologetics playlist. But wisdom, we saw that it was the quality of having experience and knowledge and good judgment. It's the quality of being wise. It's the ability to discern inner qualities and relationship. Basically, it's also good sense, and it's a generally accepted belief that when somebody makes good sense or good judgment, it's coming from wisdom. So everyone has their favorite books, whether they're fiction, biographies, educational, whatever else. Books bring values to our lives. I have heard people say that you cannot be a reader and not be intelligent. I've always loved reading, even though through time and sometimes life events, I've had less and less leisure time to read. But my favorite books have always been the ones that teach me great life lessons, help me grow, teach me how to think for myself, and can be qualified as quote unquote tested and true. Of course, I will be doing many later posts about the books that changed my life. But my all-time favorite one is the good book. It's the Bible. Having a Bible to read is like having a friend, a parent, a spouse, and a therapist combined in one. It's always there to guide you through this thing called life. Now, you might not be a believer, you might not be interested in reading Christian material, but I would argue that everyone needs to read at least the book of Proverbs. So in the Bible, the book I have been obsessed with for the last, I would say, decade, if I'm not mistaken, is the Book of Proverbs. They have truly impacted the way I think and behave, and for the better. I would even go as far as saying that it pulled me closer to God and awakened my curiosity, which led me to read the rest of the Bible, maybe something like 10 years ago. So hear me out, just a thought. What I would like to argue is that all of us need to read this book, Christians and non-Christians alike, atheists, agnostics, whatever. Let me tell you why. In the Bible, we find what we call wisdom literature, and Proverbs is one of its 3 books, along with Job and Ecclesiastes. Some people also put the Psalms and the Songs of Solomon in there, but it doesn't really matter for what we're trying to accomplish in this specific episode. It is part of the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, for anybody who is not unsure where to find it, and it's believed it was written close to 1,000 years before Christ. Proverbs is also called Proverbs of Solomon. It is supposed writer was King Solomon, with his name appearing in the book even. He references other people, calling them sages, so for the content. If you're wondering why there is such a book in the Bible, the beauty of it is that it is self-explanatory. So in the book of Proverbs, we have the purpose of the book of Proverbs. It's actually stated in the very first chapter, which reads, "To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment, and equality, to give subtly to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and the man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings, The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So the purpose is very clear there. It's for understanding. It's for discretion and knowledge. It is for getting closer to justice. Really, it's just to gain more knowledge. And we know the very last sentence says, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So why do I like it so much? The book is in the form of instructions and poems and advice for specific situations, and those circumstances will occur in your life. What I love about it also is that it is written as if a parent was teaching a child or as if a mentor was teaching a protege. So I do feel like in our times, even for non-Christians, we do follow a lot of people that give us advice on how to live our lives, what are the best decisions we can make, what are their life lessons that have been learned, and why not add to that a book that has been written for thousands of years and still ring true today. It's universal, as I find it targets both men and women, old and young. It's applicable whether you're a Christian or not, because advice is advice, right? Good advice is just good advice all around. And wisdom is just wisdom. Who does not want to learn how to live a long, peaceful, joyful life here on earth? So it speaks of, again, wisdom, folly, adultery, parents, conflicts. It speaks of wealth, laziness, leadership, womanhood, manhood, life, death, everything in between. Everything you can think of, Proverbs addresses it. So you must be wondering, okay, I am a Christian. I already know that I should read it, or I'm a non-Christian, and why would I read it? Well, for Christians, it's simple. It's because it's part of the Bible, and you already know you want to read your Bible, friend. So I will not address that. But for non-Christians, why would they want to read it? What's in it for them? Well, first, I would say that it's easy to read. There are no complications. Because the Proverbs are not too complicated to understand, you'll retain the life lessons that are included. Whenever there's a word or expression that you're unfamiliar with, it's easy to quickly research it, but all in all, you should have little to no difficulty comprehending the content. Other than that, well, it's easy to find in different forms. You can find a Bible at your local bookstore. You can find a Bible at the nearest church. Most even offer them for free. You can find a Bible online. You can download an app. You can Google verses. You can Google the Book of Proverbs. The Bible is one of the easiest books to find in a multitude of languages. So really, it's a piece of cake. Now, number 3, I would say also that it's a pleasant read. It's pleasant. It's related and unrelated verses at the same time. So the cool thing about the way Proverbs is presented is that the verses can be read separately. They're all a part of a bigger message. It happens, not often, but sometimes I just open a page up in Proverbs and read the couple of verses in that page and meditate on them. I don't necessarily have to read the previous chapters to understand what it's saying or what I'm reading, but you can do the same. Of course, for Christians, it's a whole other game because we read the full Bible. But I'm saying for non-Christians, you can enter the book of Proverbs and look through a couple of verses to see what it's saying, and it will be beneficial for you. I mean, also there's the option to search online with keywords about a certain subject and go through the verses applicable to that topic in the Proverbs. Very big other reasons why non-Christians should read the book of Proverbs is that it's really about imperfect people trying to learn. Even if you're not a Christian, I'd like to tell you that Christianity is not about perfect people living a perfect life. Quite the contrary. It's about imperfect people seeking to improve, to learn, to grow through reading the Word of God. It's about recognizing our flawed nature and realizing we need guidance. We absolutely need guidance through it. As often as I say, I guess opening Proverbs is like sitting down, putting your shield down, and being vulnerable enough to receive the message. Now, I know you're getting, sounds in the background, but as I mentioned, I am not a podcast expert, so I would just leave the audio as is. I always want you to focus on the message and not whatever, sound is in the background. All in all, so Proverbs it's universal values, it's timeless advice, and wisdom is such that it remains true in changing circumstances. What is wise, right? It's applicable no matter the place you are, no matter your age or your situation in the world. Well, like so, the Book of Proverbs provides universal truth and advice that remains true at all times. And that's why non-Christians can rejoice in them as well. And I'll finish by saying this. You will never regret investing time in self-development and growth, whether it's outside of the Bible or in the Bible. So, just in case you doubted this, no one will ever serve you in this department better than yourself. You can listen to YouTube videos, scroll on Instagram, read blogs, hear my voice online, speak with wise people, but in the end, you and only you are responsible for dedicating time to self-development, to be on your own journey. Or the aforementioned sources are other people providing you with wisdom. But the beauty of the Proverbs, well, the whole Bible, to be honest, is that it's already finished. It is already there. It is already perfect. Invest some time in yourself by tapping into a generous, inexhaustible source. Speaking of YouTube and Instagram, please realize that the world we live in is deeply disturbed, and it reflects what's, trending on social media, television, pop culture. And that being said, you cannot always trust necessarily people's temporary opinions as a guide for your life, because we all evolve and learn better if we choose to. But sometimes people would rather do what is popular at the moment, since it gets them the attention they seek. Other times we tolerate something that is clearly messed up because we feel powerless and helpless about it. And so we kind of stay passive. We can't just trust flawed individuals, myself included, to guide us. We need something more stable, more powerful. The benefit of Proverbs is that it does not try to be trendy. It sure does not encourage us to tolerate nonsense. What I'm trying to say is that it's trustworthy, and the world we live in is, well, not, sadly. And the last reason why you as a non-Christian or a non-believer should read the Book of Proverbs anyway is I'm convinced you wouldn't be here listening to this audio if you didn't care. One thing I do know is that if people are interested in what is in front of them, if they're not interested, they will be out the door quickly, especially in 2024, where everyone's attention span is one of a goldfish, mine included. So I know for a fact that if you're still hearing this argument for gaining wisdom through a book, it's because you care, or at least you're curious about it. I suspect that you're intelligent, you're introspective, and want to do better. So test me on this. I promise you that reading Proverbs will edify you. If you give it attention, because it was written by people just like you, but inspired, well, you will benefit from it. So there you have it, the reasons for you to dive into my favorite book, the Proverbs. I'll end up with this quote that says, "A wise man will hear and will increase in learning, but fools despise wisdom and instruction." I wish you the motivation that you need to go and seek that wisdom on, channels like mine, channels like other people that put out great content, but also through, sources that you never thought you would try. Well, what are you going to do so with this gem of information? Like this to let me know if you're sold on the idea, or leave me a comment letting me know why you're not sold on this idea. all in all, I wish you a good time on this journey to wisdom. See you next time.